Okay, I am joined with the one and only Johnny Arnold. So, just I guess a little background. John is one of my best friends here. We lived together for 3 years. 3 years, 2 years, 2 years. But we went to grad school together at Naropa. And yeah, John's just a great dude. He's a seeker on the path, finder on the path. He's a therapist like myself. And one of the most unique individuals I've ever met.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So, John, welcome to the studio.
Good to be here on the Spiritual Fuckboy podcast at last.
Yeah, bro. So, what do you think of the name?
There we go. Where's my camera? Right there?
Yeah, that's your camera.
Cool. I think the name could be a branding thing. I don't know. Maybe it's a good look. I think it's, if you're willing to stick with this theme.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it's an open question for me, actually.
It's hard to pivot from being the spiritual fuckboy.
Yeah, as I start to launch more of my brand, I do think that the emphasis will shift. I think that it evokes levity. And I think that with the name Spiritual Fuckboy, it also kind of grounds these pretty deep spiritual discussions in something funny, earthy, light. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But who knows? I'm rolling with the name right now because I think it's genius, actually. I do think it's genius. I don't even consider myself really like a fuckboy. Well, sort of. No, not really. But yeah, I don't know. I think the name, it's not set in stone.
Who are you trying to attract with the name?
I know.
I don't
That's
know.
the thing. Well, I'm trying to attract like mass audiences, actually. Like people, because the name Spiritual Fuckboy, you see that, you're like, wait, what the fuck? Who is this guy? Who does he think he is? And it's like, perfect. If you hate it, if you love it, either way, it's good for marketing. It's a name that sticks versus the Duff Daddy Experience, where I was thinking, Gone Beyond, like the end of the Heart Sutra, as like a cool podcast title, but nothing sticks like Spiritual Fuckboy.
Sure. Yeah. With everything, I've known you for a few years now, and I think you're crazy. I think you're crazy.
I am crazy.
Yeah. And so the question is, Spiritual Fuckboy a good podcast name? I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But you're crazy and you're Duff, so
exactly.
it could be a great idea.
I think it would be epic if I could ride Spiritual Fuckboy all the way to the top. If I could get like millions of views on my podcast with the name Spiritual Fuckboy.
Anything to the top is good.
Yeah.
Like I say, just give me a room on the yacht or
of course, bro.
in the plane or something.
Of course, bro. Whenever we get this show on the road. But yeah, so John is very versed in global events, I guess we could say, as well as, well, many other things. Human health.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what would you say?
I'm a therapist.
You are a therapist.
That's a good topic.
Yeah. Oh, I'm down to talk about that, actually.
Meditation.
Yeah.
Spiritual stuff.
It all blends together.
Yeah.
So
being happy.
Boom. Okay.
Yeah.
I think those three things, therapy, being happy, meditation, the floor is yours. How do they blend and merge?
Man, that's such an open question.
Take it anywhere you want.
Okay, so my question in life right now is if someone is unhappy and has been unhappy for a long time, and they've tried a bunch of stuff to resolve that issue and it hasn't worked, what then? And then how can I be helpful then?
What do you think?
I think one thing, the reason that people cannot get out of persistent unhappiness is that they don't see what they're up to, actually, for one.
What do you mean when you say that?
So let's say I'm an anxious person and I want to overcome this anxiety. I might go into myself and say something internally to quell it, to suppress it, something to calm myself down, distract myself. That might actually be atrophying your ability to confront it and feel it and
Resilience.
process it through.
Boom.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think those approaches to anxiety were and still are very popular.
The sort of denial and avoid and numb and escape.
The denial overcome thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or just trying to figure it out in a way that's like circular.
Yeah.
And too conceptual to really address anything.
So what I'm hearing is that, and I like the example of anxiety, if we want to work with anxiety and be free from anxiety, we have to turn towards anxiety.
Something like that. Yeah.
Right.
And I think part of the trick is we humans don't realize how much is there and what it's about.
How much anxiety is there?
Fear.
Totally.
Yeah. And how deep it is and how, you know, there's like this background nightmare context.
Yes.
That goes unnoticed, where it's like, if I fuck up in this or that way, I will die.
I'll be homeless.
Or
no one will love me.
Yeah. Or I'll go crazy. I think it always goes back to some death or insanity or loss of self fear.
Totally.
But everyone has a different path there. So one person could be like, if people don't accept me, then I die.
Right.
The other one is like, you know, if I don't become famous on the Spiritual Fuckboy podcast, I'll die.
Right.
And it's just for the individual to figure out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's interesting there is I think that those understandings about reality, what is real, again, like you're saying, is completely subjective. And I think it's interesting to see the baseline backdrop of our experience. Like, what is the reality that I'm existing within, that I am a reflection of? And might that very deep existential notion of what is real be haunting us? Might that be actually triggering anxiety? And what I think of is the classic notion of ego. This limited, finite self that we feel ourselves to be. It's just obvious, right? What I am is Ben Duffy.
Yeah.
Duh.
Yeah.
This mind, this body, this personality, that's me.
Yeah.
It seems so obvious, but the profundity of a path like Buddhism or non-duality or many Eastern traditions and actually monotheistic traditions is to start poking that self. How real are you? Are you sure that this is what you are? Could actually we be something more analogous to imagination? Could we be something more analogous to the empty void? Again, put whatever name you want on this thing here and call it self. And maybe that becomes real. And then how much of our anxiety is wrapped around, you know, the success of the self, the failures of the self, the am I good enough? The is this whole life of myself, again, is it a train wreck or is it going well? What if the thing that this anxiety was orbiting is completely made up?
Sure. Yeah.
Like that's, so for me with psychotherapy, where I feel like I'm banging my head against a wall sometimes is it doesn't seem like the depth of questioning is actually available. Where it's like there are certain assumptions about reality that just have to go unquestioned. And we have to sort of fit this mold of the psychological framework and what is real according to that belief system. But then we're leaving so many things off the table that in my mind need to get poked, just questioned in order to come to some deeper, what I would call existential freedom. Yeah.
Yeah. Before you even get to like true nature Buddhist stuff, there's a path of like deconstructing the self, wherein you learn that so much of what I experience as me is conceptual and being generated in that moment by my own. It's a process of thinking, but it feels like me and myself. And so even before you have like a breakthrough, I'm pure awareness or consciousness, you deconstruct bit by bit and say, okay, I'm not a cool dude. You know, I'm not a spiritual fuckboy.
I'm not a winner.
I'm not a winner.
I'm not a loser.
Yeah, whatever it is. The good ones and the bad ones are both conceptual.
I wrote this poem a long time ago when I was on mushrooms in the mountains, and it was something along the lines of, or it ended with, the dam breaks and the angels and demons are taken in the flood. Both the same, the angels and demons, the good and the bad. When the dam breaks and we see the impact of what we could call conceptuality, I'm a winner, I'm a loser, I'm not enough, everyone hates me, or I'm the shit, I'm better than everyone else, I'm a success. in order to be free from one, we have to be free from both.
Mhm.
This is part of really going beyond duality, really. The Buddha talks about the 8 worldly winds, and there's no way I'm going to remember these, but it's basically 8 conditions that we sort of oscillate between. Like, I think praise and blame, gain and loss. Those are 2 examples. There's 8, or there's 4 total. But basically, gain and loss. When we have gain, we're going to have loss. When we have praise, then we're going to have blame.
Mhm.
And as long as we attach ourselves to the praise,
Mhm.
we're going to get hurt when it swings over to blame.
Yeah.
So in order to be free of one, we have to be willing to let go of both.
Mhm.
And in the death poem from the 3rd Zen patriarch, he says something along the lines of, when we let go of both, or when love and hate, or love and fear are both absent, everything becomes clear and undisguised.
Mhm.
But to the average mind, they're like, why would I want to let go of love?
Mhm.
That's where it's this paradoxical, counterintuitive path,
Mhm.
where let go of love for something so much more profound,
Mhm.
maybe a love deeper than what we normally call love,
Yeah.
opening to the empty, illusory nature of experience that, in my experience, has been a direct gateway to deep, unshakable love,
Mhm.
not dualistic love.
I'm with you. Yeah. There's a call something good or bad. Heaven and hell are cast apart, and the 10,000 things were born.
Exactly.
It's another one of those. Yeah. I think to put a value charge on anything is a function of survival. You know, if I like something, it's good for me. If I don't like something,
like
it's
that.
bad for me. And when you're engaging in survival, whether it's successful or not, there's an implicit fear of death and avoidance. So there's fear. And whenever there's survival, there's fear.
Yeah.
And struggle against the condition.
And it makes me think, when you say the word survival, can we move beyond that? Even the self
To
that
an extent,
has to survive.
I think there's a lot of layers of survival for humans that are unnecessary.
What are some of those layers? Because I'm thinking like the survival of the physical body, for instance.
Sure.
And so that level of survival, it reminds me of what...
I mean, we have stories of like these legendary guys who transcend that, you know, the Ramana in the basement of the monastery getting eaten by crabs.
Please say that story. That's a sick story.
He was 16 and he had this breakthrough enlightenment.
Who?
Death experience, Ramana Maharshi. Or I think that's how you say his name. Yeah.
Yep.
And he just said fuck it basically and sold his ruby earring to go to a Shiva temple and posted up in the basement and was in a full samadhi state, and people found him dying essentially there and being eaten by insects, and they took him, you know, polished him up and put him in a different ashram and were like, you know. But in that case, and there are other cases like that where it's just no more survival. Like, I really don't care.
It seems like a being like that, again, Ramana Maharshi being one of the most profound non-dual teachers of modern times, who he transcended what we could call the conceptual experience of physical life.
That
form.
And even his body stopped compelling him to eat.
He tapped into something beyond that.
Sure. And or even the stuff that's there for the average person is gone.
What do you mean by that?
So you and I wake up and we're like, I need to do XYZ taxes and stuff. That function just kind of disappeared. You know, and the average person is not going to do that. Yeah, of course. But short of that, you know, dying in the monastery basement experience, normal people can have aspects of themselves die in a similar way.
I like that.
And they stop being generated.
Yeah.
When they're seen through as unnecessary and fabricated.
Right.
There's the ability to kind of drop it. So I think you could lighten the load on yourself as a human in just basic ways. Anxieties, fears, you know, self-concept stuff.
I have this like vision where by the time that we die, we're going to look back at the world we're living in right now and be like, whoa, what a hellscape.
Yeah, it's really crazy right now.
And I think not just a hellscape externally, but what are the stories, narratives, and assumptions that we are operating from, by, and within that are inducing hellish experiences conceptually?
Yeah.
Not just, I mean, I think the mental health crisis is a great example of that. But I think that it goes much deeper than that. When we can understand the mechanisms for how we are constructing hellish experiences, when we understand the mechanism, the whole teach a man to fish adage, we can deconstruct what is not serving us and what is creating a hellish existence, reconstruct conceptual frameworks, beliefs. I mean, they wouldn't be beliefs because you recognize that it's all made up. So you're just constructing worlds that invoke transcendence. And I'm like, I know that that's possible, and I see it in my mind's eye. I see that world. We look back and I'm like, that was just a magic spell that we were under, and now we're all free. Like
it takes, I think, an incredible amount of work to do that, and understanding, and application to really trying to do that.
I think it does now. Like I see somebody myself or you, being like, we're doing the heavy lifting because we're living in a world where we are conditioned into a certain way of seeing. So we have to move upstream against the conditioning. But if we grew up in a world where everyone was like, hey, we're all one, we are not separate from the source of creation. This life is a imaginal myth that we get to actively write, create, and discover. What if that was just the lore, the myth, the conditioning that we just were born into?
I think it is.
You don't have to then swim upstream. It's just the way things are. It just happens to be that the way things are right now are conditioned by really fucked up belief systems. And I just look at like the suicide rate of teenagers, like young kids who are ending their lives, choosing to end their lives. For me, that's an indication something's really fucked up in the culture, in the way that we are seeing things. And I think it's deeper than psychological depression and anxiety.
100%. John Vervaeke has a 50-hour podcast series, The Awakening from the Meaning Crisis. It's 50 hours, and I think he could do more. But, you know, the idea there is, how did we get to this psychological, spiritual condition that we're in right now? And he tracks it back to the ancient Greeks and kind of shows... the guy Charles Taylor does it in Sources of Self as well, how different thinkers and cultural epochs shaped what it means to be a person. And what it is like to be a person. And it was different to be a person back then. So the teachings from Buddha are tailored for a psyche 2,500 years ago now. And a lot of that stuff, it's still wise and still works, but as a skillful means for the person now, it's not a one-to-one like medicine or fix. You know.
And I think just recognizing that the world we are inhabiting came from some human being's mind. The ancient Greeks. They constructed, again, a certain world based on their assertion of reality.
And Plato fucked us over real bad.
Well, the way I see it in a really zoomed out way, it's like honoring all of these paths and the role that they played. You know what I mean? And then recognizing that they're just paths and being able to let go of them when it's time to move beyond a certain way of seeing.
Absolutely.
So again,
they were all a blessing. Like we can think and speak as we do now, advanced humans, because of them. But there's also consequences, like the idea that we are separate from the world is instantiated there. And it's, you know, iterated through time, and now we have this sense of isolation and material body and you know, that kind of stuff.
With materialism, William Blake said something along the lines of, the cold materialistic world is one of the most heartbreaking events in human history. Actually,
who said that?
William Blake. I fuck with William Blake.
Dude. Yeah, he's great.
He's crazy. Just like your boy. But I really think that that's true. Again, so there's the solidification of the materialistic lens that constructs a dead, lifeless world for us. Where we are separate. Also, matter is primary. Consciousness is a product of matter. Really? Because you can never separate matter from the consciousness experiencing it. Are we sure that matter is primary? What about in a dream? Is matter primary there? Or is consciousness? So it's like, again, we set up a world that is just limited. And I want to say, in my mind, there's nothing wrong with the materialistic lens. What's wrong and what turns into a tragedy is the solidification of the materialistic, scientific reductionist lens, where we say that's the only valid way to experience reality.
Sure.
And I like what Robert Bea teaches about what we could call multidimensionality, where we can say the world is it's materialistic, it's based on science, and that's real. But that's not the only way to experience reality.
Sure.
We can also say consciousness is primary. I can also say I am a child of God. I can say that I am an angel. And when we have a multidimensional or access to multidimensional experience, they can all be true. And recognizing that none is more real than another, they are just simply belief systems. And with science in particular, we have an epistemological perspective about knowledge, where what is real is that which we can observe, measure, and that which is replicatable. That seems like a limiting way to understand what reality is, what is really true. Again, what about consciousness? What about in quantum physics, the observer effect, where a particle versus a wave shifts depending on how we observe it. This relates to what Burbea teaches, or really many spiritual teachers, which is this fundamental truth, which is if you change how you see things, what you see fundamentally changes. And this is not just conceptual. It is conceptual, but it's deeper than that. It's what you feel in your body. Where if I have a belief system where God is on my side, I have angels on my shoulders as I'm riding my horse into battle to slay the fucking enemy, I feel that in my heart. I feel that energy through me. I feel those angels on my shoulders. So that's a certain belief system, right? Equally, the Buddhist word would be empty or fabricated, but it invokes real lived experience. When I'm in the mountains off, a few grams of mushrooms, and I'm speaking to the wind, and I'm speaking to the mountains, and they're speaking back to me, not necessarily verbally, but when I have a multidimensional belief system or access to that multidimensional belief system, at one level they're just mountains, but another level it can be literally God speaking to me, and both are real. And this is how we can construct a very real experience of divinity, where I don't have to go through the church, I don't have to go through the book, the Bible. I can talk to God, just me and him, me and them, whatever you want to call it. And that I think opens a lot up, where, well, for instance, I'm human, but not only human. And for me, I'm so curious, like, what's possible with that? And what is that? For me, it's like liberation. We're free. We're free. And how does that affect the experience of what we could call anxiety or depression?
Yeah. Well, as you're talking there's a lot of thoughts that came and went.
Please, bro, riff.
Well, they went.
Oh no.
Okay, the one thing is it's hard to have the experiences that can convince you to be more open than you currently are.
Yeah.
It's hard to have those experiences. Like, you got to do some work.
Yeah.
And really try to be open-minded, or do drugs, or go on a retreat,
Mushrooms
or
help.
Read books or something.
Yeah.
Go to therapy. Probably all of that will be required to have a convincing enough experience.
Totally.
That there is something more to reality, or that yourself is an illusion, or that consciousness is primary. It's hard to do that. So big kind of like barrier to entry there.
Well said. Exactly.
Yeah. Another thing is when we're talking about this stuff, we're talking about changing your philosophy and your interpretation of perceptions such that your life feels better to live, right? There's something about coming in accordance with truth here, and like the existential nature of being. But when we're really being real, we're trying to feel better.
Yeah.
We don't want reality to be miserable.
Totally.
And I think one of the benefits of deconstructing stuff is that you deconstruct your nightmare context, and you're free to make something else, or you don't even need to replace it with anything. Maybe I don't need to have self-esteem. Maybe I don't need to have an identity that is compared to other people in any way.
I see it as we can start to embrace the theater of life.
Sure.
And I think that one of the valid takes is that we do want to make this life better.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, when I explore the soul element, so soul in the sense of depth psychology and the work of, Carl Jung, James Hillman, Robert Bea, Bill Plotkin, those are some of my favorite.
I started listening to the Plotkin.
The Soulcraft book?
Yeah.
Bro. Anyone listening, Soulcraft, if you want to learn about human soul, depth, meaning, purpose, that's the book. But from that lens, suffering is actually unavoidable.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a truth that's taught in at least Buddhism.
Mm-hmm.
One of the inescapable marks of existence is dukkha, suffering.
Yeah.
You can never get away from it. And there's a reason for that. You can say just fundamentally, it's duality.
I think it's inherent to the survival piece.
Survival.
Like if you're going to be an entity surviving in some way here, you will confront struggles
and
to your survival. There are things that will impede that.
And from the lens of depth psychology, there's the value of struggle. How it invokes beauty, how it invokes depth, how it also actually dismembers the comfortable, cozy ego structure and the necessity of that. We are always, shedding the antlers, a snake shedding its skin. We are no different. The leaves on the trees, they fall every year. We are no different. And it's like, if we reject the darkness, if we get Xanax and painkillers to, again, end the darkness prematurely, this alchemical process doesn't have the space to unfold, where you need to be like forced to let go of your leaves, metaphorically speaking.
Yeah.
And so that's what Carl Jung would say, is that actually it's the dismemberment of the ego that the darkness is blessing you with. And I see the darkest period of my life, the crazy depression and the going to India and the reading all the books, doing all the practices, the spiritual journey I went on. I would never have done that if life was cushy. So I see it as I got stabbed by the angels intentionally, by the angels. These are not demons. These are angels gifting you something. And again, that's a view. I want to just recognize that's a view. I would say a very skillful view that changes our relationship to darkness and suffering. Where when I think Archangel Michael is blessing me, or Gabriel is healing me through darkness, actually, it's a very different experience.
Can you personally really feel that such a thing is true? True.
Like I got blessed by the angels.
Yeah, like there's some intelligence behind it that really did this, and it's really for a bigger reason.
I would say yes, but maybe not in the way that you think. I'm not sure again how you're thinking, but for me, there's this notion of the imaginal. So we usually think of something being real or unreal. It's one or the other. So what about neither real nor unreal? A world that is imaginal in nature, where it is both constructed and really real, recognizing both to be true. So that's where I'm coming out with this.
What's the experience like? Like let's say you're in the midst of some dog shit experience, and then you remember, it was Michael who sent it. Yeah, okay. How does it change your experience?
It doesn't necessarily make it better. What it does do is it allows me to turn towards it more. I would say that there's many things involved, but I can actually start to embrace the darkness. And again, I can still be confused, heartbroken, whatever, but there's a beauty, a reverence, and a depth that opens up. Instead of reducing this to, why me? I'm just depressed, or I'm a victim.
It sounds better in a way. It's not like it quells the pain, but it gives some beauty to the pain, some meaning.
And from this lens, quelling the pain is not necessarily even the main goal. So it's more of, can I find the treasure within the pain, recognizing that from the Shinzen Young analogy, I mean, what you resist persists. Suffering is equivalent to pain multiplied by resistance. If I'm a victim and I'm resisting and I'm saying, why me? I'm actually amplifying my suffering.
Yeah.
When I say, thank you, Michael, for blessing me with this crippling heartbreak. I don't know why, but I trust. When I hold that view, the resistance actually decreases.
Yeah.
So the corresponding suffering goes down. It's much more workable. It still fucking sucks, but I see, this is by design. Thank you. So again, we're playing with the imaginal, neither real nor unreal.
Yeah.
And what we could say is actually, for me on this path, as I've done it more, all of experience can start to become imaginal. Where even what we're experiencing right now, if we're gonna really pay attention to it and break it down, it's neither real nor unreal because it's created, it's conceptual.
Sure.
The notion of a Ben and a John, for instance, that is a conceptual, built, fabricated experience. So how real really is it? But at the same time, I'm experiencing John and Ben, and we're separate.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah,
so we can see that's neither real nor unreal, and that's. I like what Robert Bea said. He's like, that's sort of a razor's edge at first, where you're kind of between these extremes. But as you're on that razor's edge long enough, it opens up and it's very vast, maybe even infinite, because everything is included in that. Neither real nor unreal. It's the ultimate, again, I kind of call it the skeleton key that opens perception.
Yeah, I think you could have like useful imagery or context like that without needing to put any like ontological status on it.
Exactly.
Like this is real or not real or whatever.
Exactly.
But you can imagine like in meditation the image of a perfected being, and then you merge yourself with that image.
Yeah.
And it is a mental exercise, but it has real effects on the body and experience. So but I would just call that like mind control and using conceptual tools or psychotechnologies, you know.
My question though,
applying those.
When you say psychotechnologies, is there an assertion that there is an objective based reality that we are shifting from?
Yeah, it's a good question. No, I wouldn't assert that with any confidence that there's an objective based reality that we're coming from, but there's an undeniable, persistent like form of reality. Yeah. Like the physical world is unfuckwithable.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah, it really seems like that. Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know. I definitely can't levitate.
Yeah.
I can't go through walls.
Yeah.
But there are stories of people from all over the world that allegedly can.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, I will say that I don't know. Maybe my mind, again, is still interwoven with the conditioning of the culture. I was gonna say maybe that is objective reality, but there's a feeling in my heart actually when I say that. It's like something feels tight, like physically actually, and it doesn't feel comfortable. And I think for me, like soul, soul, spirit, whatever, beingness, for it to flow, it's like it has to be open. There's a Mary Oliver poem which she said, "What about maybe? What about the power of what if?" And trying that on, like, what if I merged with the deity? So you're talking about deity yoga in, Tantra, really, where you imagine Avalokiteshvara, for instance, who is the Buddha of infinite compassion, 1,000 arms, always helping people. You imagine this being in detail, and you see them in front of you, and you start to feel that compassion. And then at a certain point, you merge with that being. And this is a visualization, but you are that being.
Feels good to be that guy. Yeah.
And that's the thing. Who's to say that we're not? Could we have an assertion that is, again, empty in nature, that we are not Avalokiteshvara? Yeah. It's like that's the power of this knowing, neither real nor unreal. Even the notion of Ben the human is neither real nor unreal. So this comes to this practice, conceptual understanding where the focus shifts from what is real. It's not even the question anymore, because it's like, whose reality? My reality yesterday, my reality 10 minutes ago, your reality. Whose reality are we talking about when we're talking about what's real? So the question shifts from what's real to what is useful. What evokes a certain experience? Are we trapping ourselves in limiting conceptions, creating and discovering just limitation? Where if I reduce the world to matter, materialism, am I just priming perception actually through sort of the confirmation bias to only notice matter? And then when the wind hits my face, it's just air particles. Instead of, could it be God speaking to you? I mean, also from my lens, could it be both? And also ultimately neither, because from this lens, there is no objective reality.
Yeah. You're brushing on this topic. You know that I love this because we talk about it every time. Groundedness versus openness, and having them both at the same time. So grounded is like you stick with the evidence you have, and you don't fantasize. You just be real with what's there. And then open is like, maybe I don't have the whole picture. And it's hard to to have both active at the same time. Yeah. Especially when talking about the spiritual woo. Yeah. And that kind of stuff. So that's important. Yeah. It's also important that true and good are different in some way. They're distinct. They're related but distinct. Yeah. And I think true has to be the primary principle, before good as a way of growing and developing, because you pursue good even with a little bit of ignorance. There's going to be consequences.
The road to hell
eventually
is paved with good intentions.
Right. So what is good has to be informed by what is true, and in my contemplations, when I'm looking for true and trying to be open and looking into entities and all this kind of stuff, it's not flowery. Like there's no Michael and Gabriel yet. Maybe I'll have an experience like that. But I have awareness, like just awareness, consciousness, and it's pure. And that's where the medicine comes for me, because it's just free of this stuff.
Yeah. So, and that's where I think there's no right and wrong here. And I think there has to be the ability to play with different ways of seeing. When we can say, this is all just awareness. And that's like primarily my meditation practice. Samatha. Just follow the breath. So unbelievably simple. That's what I need, because my mind is fucking insane. And that's what I need in order to get some control over it.
Yeah, no, me too.
So
I do see, hear, feel Shinzen Young noting stuff.
Nice.
Still. Just basic raw skills still.
But with meditation or just any sort of practice, even this conversation, like for me, there's perception shifting already. It's different when the mind is still in meditation, and you can again start to do that deity yoga practice, for instance, or something that I've been doing consistently is not me, not mine. So any thought, any feeling, any goal, not me, not mine.
Neti.
Yeah, neti. So just like we assume that any thought or feeling that I'm having is me or mine. Again, understanding the Buddhist notion of no self, or emptiness in general, we can say, actually, it's not me and it's not mine.
Yeah.
And you don't say what it is, but you just negate. And it takes me to this, actually like an experience of what I've heard called theophany.
Theophany.
So theosis, so manifestation of the divine, of God, an expression of God, where what I am, the thoughts in my mind are not separate from the thoughts of God. The feeling in my body, the heartache I have, the longing I have is not separate from the longing of God, right? Yeah. So that's like you see perception shifting through a certain way of seeing. And again, I think for me, this is why a thorough, deep understanding of emptiness is essential. Because if you think that the not me, not mine theophanic perception is more real than the human perception, you are still going to trap yourself in a cage of solidity. We need to see that it's all empty. See image as image. That's what Robert Bea would say. To see it not as objective truth. Because then I become I'm Jesus, motherfucker, look out. And like all of a sudden you're the crazy homeless dude. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like that's what happens when you solidify even a beautiful enchanted perception. Yeah. So the freedom is to play with enchanted perception. Totally. Without reifying, without solidifying. And that way we're free. Not to say one is more real.
Or preferring it too much. I think we see a lot of that in Boulder. It's like, you become like crystal chick territory. Yeah. If you're too valence towards, having good spiritual experiences.
Exactly. And for me, it's always the question has been for a long time, like, what is spirituality? Do I wear all white and dread my hair and go to ecstatic dance? And no shade on ecstatic dance, it's actually kind of sick, but at the same time, what is my image of what spirituality looks like? And for me, when you reckon, they're all images, I can be this motherfucker with neck tats and the dare to go deep shirt and be equally as spiritual, because in a sense it's all made up. So that's more of a non-dual perspective on spirituality. I just worked on this section of my brand where we can again co-create experiences of non-dual divinity, where I am no separate from divine, the hand of God. I speak the word of God and have it be true through a non-dual fabricated conception of divinity. But also we can create the dualistic expression of God, where I am separate from God. I am his servant. I am his child, the monotheistic perspective, where I am most certainly not God. So dualism. And there's pros and cons to both. For instance, the benefit of the dualistic flavor of spirituality is actually that eros, desire, and what we can call love actually requires two-ness. If all is one, there's no thing for me to give my love to and to receive love from. So I need an other to give and receive from. So that's one of the necessities of dualistic expression of divinity. But again, if we reify and solidify that, we're trapped in a limiting belief system. And also then we're rejecting the divinity of this human form. And whose mind is this? Whose thoughts are these? Who's speaking right now? Beyond like just, separating ourselves from God and saying, I'm just a lowly human. We can be God too, with the non-dual conception of divinity. And the freedom is not one or the other. It's the ability to pick up and put down either. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And to stay aligned with what is true beyond your fantasy about it. And it's what a dangerous idea, that I am God thing.
Yeah.
Like we know the guy from the sauna who's,
oh yeah,
apparently he's walking across the country right now.
Good for him, bro. Yeah. He's living his myth, dude. I kind of respect
I don't know about the outcome on that one.
That's actually valid.
He's unstable and he really thinks he's God, and
he really does think he's God.
That's an extreme example, but if I have like a DMT experience and I have this I'm God thing that could turn into psychosis, and it could be very freeing. And enlivening. Yeah.
It could, and that's the danger with solidifying, right? And William Blake said something like,
I think there's a danger with you have a thought and then you follow the thought too far. And the thought is not relating to your lived present moment experience enough.
So you follow the thought. So when you say that, I assume that you're also unconsciously solidifying the truth of that thought.
Basically.
Right.
Yeah. And you have an emotional need for it to be true as well.
Interesting.
And then because of that need. Because of the need, you bias away from disconfirming evidence, right?
I think that it's related. I mean, what I see, and I'm just riffing right now, is like the small ego. When the small ego can try to identify as God, that's the ultimate relief for the little ego. But the ultimate, really experience of God, I would say, is the complete annihilation of any ego. Into Thich Nhat Hanh has a quote that says, basically the annihilation of ego, the absence of any separate self opens you up to the experience of self where you are everything that could ever be. So that's the thing. When you annihilate the foreground, all you get is the backdrop. And what is the backdrop? Everything that could ever be. And so I also think, again, there's this notion of seeing image as image, not as objective truth. Any sense of self that I try on, can we see that as image? Where all of existence is being sensed imaginally, not literally. Because that seems to be one of the main diseases I see, actually. At a deep level, we're literalizing everything, forgetting that it's an imaginary construct. And I think the reclamation of imagination could be that resurrection of Christ. I just did a video on this. And when I say that, I mean, remembering or just asking the question, could all of this be imaginary? All of this. And starting to understand.
You mean like this too?
Yes. Well, it depends what we mean by this. You know what I mean?
Like physical reality.
I think I think, again, from a perspective of non-duality, as above, so below.
Sure.
So if there's any fluidity, it must all be fluid. And if there's any solidity, it must all be solid. Do you know what I'm saying? So we have that kind of assertion. And I think that if we claim one, it goes all the way down. Because where is the boundary? Is it objectively there, or did we create it? So I would say if I'm experiencing this self to be fluid, the world must be fluid, materiality must be fluid. It doesn't mean that I have agency to control it. I'm playing with conceiving, with conception. And for me, this is what feels right. This is not just like me mentally masturbating, jacking off. It feels it feels good in the body, where it's like, this feels right. This feels true. Everything else, the solidity felt like a cage. And even when I try on those perceptions, like I sit into, what if there is objective materiality? Again, there's like a contraction, I feel like, in my sternum, actually. And I'm like, what is that? It just doesn't feel pleasant, actually. There's something much more expansive. Yeah. And I'm like, for me, I feel really mentally solid. And I also feel really free. Because I think, again, the danger is in the solidification. So My question is, what is possible through playing with perception, not just individually, but with a collective? Remembering that the world that we grew up in is we were spoon-fed unconsciously belief systems because our parents believed it, our whole community believed it. Like, what were the belief systems in like ancient Amazonian civilization? What were the belief systems in Japan 4,000 years ago? What were the belief systems in Jerusalem before Christ? And whose belief system is more real? Whose? I
think it's yeah.
You know what I'm saying with that, though?
Yeah.
It's all kind of fluid and flexible.
It's kind of fluid, but it's also kind of not.
How?
So we always end up here. Like there's an Amazonian tribe right now that is uncontacted until recently. There's a recent video that came out where they give them bananas. Those guys believe some crazy stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like the river is alive, or even like cargo cults. When I think it was World War II, some U.S. troops were stationed on an island chain and there were cargo planes coming in. The locals thought that this was like a divine thing. The cargo was coming from God, right, and it was meant for them. They believed that. And we know that is not true.
Are you sure, though?
From our perspective, it's not true.
From the materialist perspective, it's not true.
Yeah. So no, I guess you could not be absolutely sure. Maybe God was orchestrating the cargo to be there for them. Maybe.
Could that be an equally valid view? And I'm not saying,
No, I think not.
Why?
It's a good question because the pure subjectivity thing undercuts any like discussion. It's true. It's true. Everyone could have their own solipsistic perspective on reality that is like ontologically equal to everyone else's. Maybe. It doesn't seem to be the case though. Like we can watch someone schedule the cargo to be delivered and say why they're delivering it, and it gets there. And then the people are like, ooh, this is for me from God. We know that's not true from the other end.
But what if we hold a view that the person creating this cargo drop is an expression of God?
Totally.
Theophany.
Sure.
Are they not?
Sure.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, again, and I'm not asserting that one's more real than the other. I'm just asserting that both are valid and equally made up.
Yeah.
And so for me, again, the danger is saying that one is more real, because then we're trapped. We're saying only this is real, and I close myself off to theophany, expressions of God.
Yeah. I think that putting everything on the pure subjectivity, like viewing everything in that lens, it doesn't do much work.
What do you mean?
In terms of finding out true and real in reality.
Yeah. Well,
if you just level everything to it's all true, it's all equal, that might be existentially true. But then we lose access to some good, I think. Back to that point. Like it might be true, solipsism, pure subjectivity, and infinite, perception could be the case. But that does not make all ideas and perspectives equally good in reality or effective.
Totally.
Or, benevolent.
I hear what you're saying, and I actually agree with it, because there's this notion, which I love from Christianity, which is the emphasis on goodness, on love. And I think that there's some real truth in that, and there seems to be a structure to this place. Where did ethics come from? For me, it's very simple. It's like the golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated. It's very simple. What did Christ say? Treat thy neighbor as thyself.
Ethics, it could even be about effectiveness as a culture,
and I think
survival.
Exactly. So that's from the evolutionary biology frame. And I think also there's something when we're talking about perception, we're talking about inside out instead of outside in experience of the world. Do you know what I mean when I say that? So when I say inside out, it's like we're playing with perception, quote unquote, internally. And then we're seeing what impact it has externally, where we can also interpret the world externally and then perceive it and then interpret it internally.
Gotcha.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So from the lens of playing with perception, which we can claim to be internal. In Buddhism, they say internal and external is a false duality, actually, because it's sort of one awareness. But when we're playing with perception internally first and seeing the impact it has, then there has to be infinite possibilities. Just trying on ways of seeing, ways of relating. So when we say that there is one objective reality, for me, it's how does that feel? What do I see? What do I feel? It's not just seeing visually. It's like sensing with every fiber of our being.
Yeah.
And when I shift that, and for me, there's something so potent about this practice of what if? What if it was an expression of God? What if we were angels? What if? And for me, I mean, I've obviously done a lot of this practice, and eaten a lot of mushrooms, which tends to really loosen the psyche. But the feeling in the body shifts, where I'm not in the same world actually. And
is it good? Is it better?
I mean, having agency over what I choose, yes. I'm not choosing bullshit, shitty, horrific worlds to live in. Let's just put it like that. Which interestingly brings me to this notion of the news and like the theatrics we are seeing presented to us, and the story that is constructing, and the underlying assumptions of those stories about self inherently existing, reality inherently existing, materialism inherently existing, everything else dog shit, materialism real. And just like this is being like unconsciously interwoven into what we experience ourselves to be and what we experience the world to be. And it's constructing like a scary, hellish theater for us to then be a part of, which is apocalyptic. And that's like, I don't know if it's intentional that they want us to be afraid. I think that there's a valid case that might be true, because fear has a funny way of making people give their power away and stay divided and not look for the real evil motherfuckers pulling the strings. So who knows? Maybe it also could just be the nature of the human mind, which tends to find fear and fixate on it. You know what I mean? And so, you know, whether it's intentionally malicious or otherwise, it's not really relevant, right? It's not what is true. It's what is the impact. And this is where I really think it's not necessarily about what's even pleasant. It's about where there's freedom, which I would say is synonymous with truth. And for me, that freedom is emptiness. It's like if we're making an assertion of an objective way that things are or I am, it hurts. It hurts something really deep in me, and I'm gonna guess other people. Again, who knows? But it's interesting in certain specifically Buddhist spheres, I've heard that the inability to grasp emptiness or the denial of shunyata, which is the assertion of a fluid reality, is a product of having a solidified sense of ego, where there's a real me. And thus, if the world is empty by default, because I'm relative to it, I must be empty too. So to the ego, that is a death. That is the ultimate annihilation, which again is the gateway to, you know, profound freedom. So when there's like a denial of emptiness or dismissing of emptiness, I'm always curious who is denying the emptiness, or what is denying the emptiness. Do you know what I'm saying with that? And it's like, for me, and it, you know, it relates to death too. When it's like, when I say that death is real, it's a codependent arising. When I say death is real, there must be a self that dies. So we like unconsciously create both. Like when we say that there's an up, there's by default a down. When I say that there's a left, there's by default a right. They come together. When I say that I'm alive, I am asserting that there will be a death. And I'm also asserting that there is a me that dies. For me at least, when I've spent time poking at death, and this relates to what I think Ramana Maharshi experienced, which is really like snuggling up with this concept of death, being like, what is this?
Yeah, that was his contemplation.
Right. Yeah, the big break.
Yeah, what is death?
And when
he pretended to die.
Right, and so when you embrace death, you let down the resistance to death. it seems like the solidity of it also fades, because the more we resist, the more we're solidifying the objective existence of something.
Sure.
Because I can't resist something that's not real.
Sure.
So through resistance, I'm creating a real death. And when I stop resisting, interestingly, when I can love death to death, death fades as a real thing. And so does the self. And then all of a sudden I'm in imaginary land. And for me, that's, again, it feels so right. But that's like, it's, again, you're jumping off of a cliff. The ego, everything that we assume ourselves to be, for the most part, unless, deep in meditation, high dose mushrooms, there's ways to go beyond the ego, obviously. But for the most part, we assume that this is who I am, the ego. So to let go of that is I think the scariest thing for an ego to do, because it's the annihilation of what we think we are. But again, in the utter annihilation of what we think that we are, we open up to becoming everything and nothing. Like the Nisargadatta quote, wisdom knows that I'm nothing, love knows that I'm everything. Between the two, my life flows. So not solidifying either, but being infinite and zero. And I think I really want to communicate that there's such a freedom and a joy and a bliss in recognizing I'm nothing. It's so, like, there's nothing to maintain. There's no success I have to live up to. There's no image I have to be. I'm nothing. Fuck yeah.
That's the best thing ever, yeah.
Literally. And then nothing and everything seem to interestingly merge. It's like the infinite and zero, which are both kind of unreal numbers. You know what I mean? Because there's never any zero, really. And there's never any infinity, because we're in the world of finite form. So you play with, like, when I become zero, I also become infinite. And when I become infinite, I must also be nothing.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, I guess deep. What do you think about that?
It's tough. I don't know how to, when we're doing this podcast, you speak for like 4 minutes and they're like, what do you like?
Dude, I would, if you want, you can write stuff down on this.
I thought about it.
Yeah. If you want, you can have this.
I should. Yeah.
Leave that. I mean, let's see. Is there one without? Oh, they both have read it. It's fine. We'll give you this regardless.
Cool. I don't know, man. I'm pretty dumb these days, to be honest.
What do you mean by that?
My spiritual inquiry and like the hard philosophy grind and all the meditation stuff. Thank you, sir. That peaked a few years ago before going to grad school. I did the multiple hours a day every day and using an EEG and doing all psychedelics alone in my room and the retreats and all that stuff. And I got like a degree of understanding, and my anxiety was quelled sufficiently that I'm like, okay, I can chill on that. And then we graduated and I've just been doing career stuff. Yeah. And just like taxes and insurance. Yeah. And enjoying the fact that I work 3 days a week right now.
Me too.
And I can serve, that's crazy. And I'm adjusting to that and I have a lot of free time. So I haven't cared too much about philosophy or improving myself, or I have my maintenance practices, like 20 or 30 of sitting a day and the Wim Hof and the cold showers and the sauna and stuff.
I mean, it seems like a pretty cozy life.
It's very cozy right now.
Three days a week of work. I'm in the same boat. I'm pretty fucked on those 3 days. Not like I start tomorrow, but
I'm chilling.
And then you have a girlfriend. You got Bae.
Moved in. I have 2 cats.
You got 2 cats.
Dude, I'm like so householder. It's like a Siddhartha, the Herman Hesse book, where he was like super cracked on the spiritual stuff, and then he started gambling. Interesting. He got some bitches, and then he went back later. But I feel like I'm Siddharthaing right now. But it feels good and like perfect for the path. Like
interesting.
Testing my chops on all this. This spiritual gobbledygook, because it doesn't matter what we're talking about if it doesn't do work.
It has to do something.
Is it real? Is it not real? I don't know how much of a fuck I really give about that.
Yeah, totally.
And how much I just want this reality to be better and cleaner and more, true.
And I agree with you. I also think everybody's different. Again, I'm insane, and I've known that for a while. You've known that about me for a while, and but like, you had that aspiration, And I would say probably from maybe you can actually tell your story briefly, because it sounds from what I remember, you came from deep suffering, which is what got me on the path.
Not too deep, actually.
Really?
I was kind of chilling. Yeah.
Interesting. Maybe it wasn't as deep as me, and that's why I'm still on the fucking path.
Maybe,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
mine was, I was genuinely like straight up reading philosophy stuff. And then I bumped into enlightenment as a form of philosophy. And then that started the spiritual. Yeah. But I was genuinely like, what is fucking reality? Because since I was young, I've had these kind of dysphoric almost experiences of like, this is so insane. We're in some kind of dream thing. It's so crazy. Nobody really knows what it is.
Right.
Where did it come from? Where is it going? How at all is it here? I've had that kind of stuff since I was young. And I started like addressing it when I was 18. And my big question was, do we have free will? Like I was so curious about that.
Can I ask why?
Why what?
Why you were curious about it?
I think it was sparked a lot by studying biology in undergrad. I did 2 years of like biochemistry. And when you get into like the protein, when you get sciencey about what the brain is and how the brain works, it's like these are incredibly simple mechanisms. There's just billions of them. It's like calcium ion pumps. Everything that I am and am thinking and doing is based on these little mechanistic things. So where do I come in? Like what conglomeration of those mechanisms creates an entity with a will? So I just was investigating that. And then it comes to like, if you're asking, do I have free will? You kind of need to know what the I is that would have free will. So it went into self-inquiry stuff from there. Yeah. Shout out actualize.org. The spiritual enlightenment, the most shocking truth you'll ever hear video. I found that in like 2015 or 2016, and that started it.
And this is, what's his name?
Leo Gura, actualize.org. Yeah.
So this is the dude who was boofing 5-MeO for 30 days?
Yeah, he's done a lot of crazy shit, but he did 30 days straight of boofing 5-MeO. Yeah.
So how does one boof 5-MeO?
I don't know the real procedure, but like a syringe in and meditate. He did it like retreat style. So he locked himself in there and once a day go in.
It's kind of sick.
Sod enough for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I think he might have backed out before it was done.
Really?
On the first attempt, maybe.
Interesting.
I don't remember. It was years ago, but he was going hard. And the 5-MeO he was using as a tool to like get past the preconceptions of mind and the experience of selfhood.
You said something trippy about that. Like when he was 20 days deep, he had this recognition of something realer than any flavor of reality he's ever tasted, which was that all of the cosmos was a tiny kangaroo mouse.
Oh, that was a different experience that he talked about on there, of coming into contact or like viewing or becoming conscious of some entity that was a kangaroo mouse that was hyper intelligent, and all it does is jump around in loops or something.
Sounds kind of sick.
And he said it was one of the greatest experiences he's ever had. And I love that kind of shit.
What if that is actually the ultimate reality?
Who knows? I would bet against that being the case.
Right.
But I think that those things could exist. I mean, reality to me must be infinite. I don't know what would constrain being itself from manifesting everything.
Then you get it, right?
So yeah. So that could be true. Okay, to tie back to the other one, that kangaroo mouse might exist in some way, but we're not seeing kangaroo mice here. Right. They're not bouncing around here.
Leo's seeing kangaroo mice.
Yeah.
Or sensing them.
An incredibly altered state of consciousness. Yeah. Right. So in this mundane state of consciousness, there is no evidence of like significant bleed through from like the mantis realm.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And you can go to the mantis realm and like chill with them, and they're creepy as hell.
Have you been chilling with the mantis?
No.
People?
No, it's been a while. I don't, that's too much for me at this stage. But like in that phase where I was going hard, I would be like fasting for multiple days and then do as much DMT as I could
muster
before I'm blind.
Yeah.
And
blinding is the point.
Yeah. And Yeah, you can see very real mantis
Yeah.
guys.
And it seems so interesting, like with the psychedelic community, especially people smoking lots of DMT. It seems like the question always is, are those things real or are they just in my head?
Well, it's at this phase I was so valence towards what's true in the most absolute sense, where I was not interested in mantis people or
What if they're true though?
yeah, they could be true. At the stage that I was, where I could have met mantis people, where I was doing the drugs and being serious about it, I wasn't interested. And I viewed those kind of things as macchio, I think is the term they say in Zen. Macchio, bullshit.
Yeah.
And so I was just, and every DMT, every deep acid or shrooms would end up at like some blank, clean slate, free consciousness where it's like being is just, there's no way that being is. It's just, it's the possibility for reality.
Exactly.
That's it.
Sort of the I am, then fill in the blank.
That's where I would get. And I didn't work too much with like, what's the mechanism? Like how does another dimension relate to this one? Or, what are the gods, or what are these higher beings that you can sense are true and real and influential?
I'm legitimately curious. And what I kind of want to like go full circle with this whole notion of emptiness that I like speak from and live from. A full understanding of emptiness is a recognition that emptiness itself is inherently empty.
Sure.
Which is kind of trippy. It's sort of the snake eats its own tail. So in a full spectrum kind of way, a mature insight into emptiness is that even emptiness is inherently empty of inherent existence. And the reasoning for that is, okay, well, this is kind of deep. So in Buddhism, they talk about unfabricated states of consciousness. We're in deep samatha meditation, really calming the mind. The fabricating process kind of gets let go of. In a sense, the grip opens. And when you're not clinging, the things that you were clinging to fade, aka the world and self and all of that. So you can tap into the experience of the unfabricated, which is actually beyond time. And so I've had experience into the first 3 jhanas, at this point the first 2, but there's 8. And beyond and so these are, again, deep states of samadhi, meditative absorption. And so beyond the 8th jhana is the cessation of consciousness, where the experience of time fades. And with that, the experience of space, because space and time are actually dependent on one another. There can't be space without time, and vice versa. So thus, when we see that, when we really let go completely of everything, just stop clinging. The Pali word is tanha, clinging and aversion, how it constructs reality. Everything fades, including time and space. So at that point, anything that would exist within time and space must also be fabricated. And that includes the relative notion of emptiness. But what emptiness represents is, again, a skeleton key, where it's an empty perception still. It's an empty conception that leads to a certain perception. But it's a very special one. Again, it opens up infinite possibilities. It's sort of like the I get the image of, a light hitting the prism, Pink Floyd album cover. So it's like you have the clear light of emptiness, clear seeing, Dharmakaya. And that light gets refracted through mind into infinite flavors and colors. And all of which are valid, demonic or heavenly, or anything in between, stale and materialistic or enchanted, all of which are allowed, and equally valid flavors. But again, I think it's just important to recognize that emptiness too is fabricated. But what allows for
it's an idea.
It's a conception, right?
About, yeah. It refers to an experience, yeah. But that experience or that consciousness, should be the only non-fabricated thing. If it's the primary like ontological substance or substrate or context for reality, that cannot be fabricated. That is what it is.
So you're saying that emptiness cannot be fabricated? Yeah. So exactly. So this is where it's really trippy and paradoxical, counterintuitive, and it doesn't make any fucking sense.
The idea is made up, certainly.
Yeah.
It's an idea to refer to something so that we can teach each other about how to have this experience. But
it's like what allows for emptiness to be fabricated out of the void is the fundamental
Sure.
emptiness of all things. So it's simultaneously empty and it's also simultaneously like sort of the real truth. I don't know. It's kind of mind fucking.
Yeah.
But you're getting to this ineffable place where it seems like deep understandings and truths are like really difficult to try to explain verbally or verbally with words. But again, it's I like to end with this sort of no pressure perspective where emptiness is not something we have to cling to. It's something we get to pick up when it's useful.
From a mental health perspective, the emptiness gives you the opportunity to gaslight yourself in a really useful way, actually.
Totally. Yeah. That's only when your experience
you have the
sucks.
option to gaslight yourself in that way, which is so useful.
Totally.
Or to bypass in that way.
Yeah.
Those are both like negative connotation terms.
Yeah.
But I think actually necessary to have in the toolbox as like options.
Exactly.
You know, I'm mired by anxiety right now. This doesn't make any sense. I'm going to bypass this temporarily because I know it's delusional.
So this is where, again, it's very full circle where it's like, if I'm suffering as a human being and I'm afraid of death, we can use empty again to bypass my pain and suffering.
Yeah.
Very effectively. And I will say that for sure. But again, a mature understanding of emptiness is, again, even emptiness is inherently empty. And thus it brings us back to the world exactly as it is. Matter, suffering, all of it. And that's where we can start to actually be of service. Where when we recognize the truth in the end of the Heart Sutra, form is emptiness, emptiness is form, the world exactly as it is still profound truth, like unalterable truth. So then we can actually go towards the suffering of the world, sort of Kuan Yin style, one of the main, compassion Buddhas in Chan Buddhism. But sort of, again, we go towards the suffering of the world because we have the ability to pick up the lens of emptiness where, I can move towards suffering because I'm not afraid of it. I see it for what it is and it's empty, but at the same time, it's real. Both. And that's the freedom, which is trippy. Is it's both and neither simultaneously. And that way you have this kind of armor of emptiness to be able to be that, servant of God, if you want to use like the, Christian terminology. Or the bodhisattva ideal in Buddhism, where real awakened beings go towards suffering because they're not afraid of it. And actually there's, I would say, deep meaning, purpose, and value in sort of the alleviation of suffering for other beings, which really you can't get any other way is what it seems like to me. And that's where this bleeds into the depth psychological view of soul, of more important than ending suffering, or equally important, it depends on the view, is the invocation of beauty and meaningfulness and passion and purpose and a deep connection to life, even though it's empty, fabricated appearance, still sinking your teeth into this place. And I think that's what traditional Buddha Dharma leaves out a lot of the time, at least, Hinayana Dharma, which it produces this lifeless, cold, everything's empty and go fuck yourself kind of mentality, which denies the beauty of whatever this is, So again, I think the most pragmatic application of emptiness is that all we're left with are various ways of seeing that we can pick up and put down. Pick up and put down emptiness, materialism, reality, enchantment, God. None of them are ultimate truths. We have the control to pick up and put down, depending on what is going to serve us at a given time. And I think that's where it's like there's no pressure. You don't have to do anything. There's just always going to be a view operating.
Yeah.
So do with it what you will.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And John, maybe that's a good spot to end, unless you have anything else to add.
No, I think we're good.
Do you want to shout yourself out? I don't know if you're using socials too much anymore, but
my name is John Arnold. I'm on Psychology Today. If you want to be my client, hit me up on there.
Sick.
No, I think we're good. If you want to be happy, do sleep well, meditate, work out regularly, eat a good diet, and that'll clear up about 60% of your shit.
I think that's a good estimate.
And then the rest of it, to open up and turn towards it as if a scientist trying to learn something, do experiments, and try to figure it out. And this idea of figuring stuff out has been important to me. It's like,
and to me,
it's figure ground, imagine. So there's a ground and there's a figure in it.
Mm.
When you're figuring stuff out, you're trying to find what's the functional aspect. What's the idea or the belief in there that props up the rest of this stuff. And you figure it out. So that figure should become apparent, like come out.
That thing that props up everything else.
Yeah. And I think all of us have a different configuration of ideas and beliefs. Yeah. And once you bring them to the fore and make them conscious, you can get free of them. What is unconscious will determine your life, and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Boom. I think that's a good place to end it.
Boom. Yeah. John, my man.
GG's, brother.
Fucking love you, bro. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah. Honor and a privilege.
Yeah. All right. And thank you, everyone, for watching.
Yeah.